How's it going, fam? It's Jamila Anahata from thesoulfulveganista.com, and today I'm coming back at you with an intuitive reading for the full moon in Aquarius. So if you don't know already, I'm going to be uploading this on a Thursday, and that is going to be where the moon is full, once again in Aquarius. And I want to know what that means for us. So let's find out right now. Let's see what my guides, ancestors, and angels have to say, because I have a lot of questions, especially since it's been Leo season. I've been feeling like I've been reaping a lot of the benefits that I haven't been able to see in the winter, because, you know, this is the execution phase. We work up towards everything in the winter, and then now we're going to see our manifestations here. So let's see what we're going to be manifesting this full moon. Okay. All right, so let's see what my guides, ancestors, and angels have to say about it. And this is my Rider-Waite tarot deck. I just use this for general type things. I'm sure like every reader has them, and it's really good like way to start it out with. It has great images that are very clear. And me being an intuitive reader, I don't really go based off of the images and a lot of the elements and the numbers, even though I'm very hip to those things. But it is really good to have something that's a very clear image that I can go off of when I'm feeling confused. So I'm almost done. Every time I do my readings, I like to make sure I offer my gratitude to my ancestors, thanking them for their intuitive messages and insights that they give to me. Keep shuffling for the question. Okay. Feels like it's almost ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically what I ask is, what do we need to know for the full moon? What do we need to know? What is the general theme that we need to see? What are certain things that we all collectively as a people need to work on? What is the collective consciousness looking like? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. Awesome. Okay. So usually I do a 9-card spread, but I'll just do 6 to be brief. And, a lot of these are inverted. Usually I don't do inverted cards. Everyone has their different way of reading. Maybe it's just upside down. But I don't always feel like that always gives a message. And in this type reading, I don't really see it meaning anything anyway. So let's get into the reading. I'm just going to look at it really quick and see what it says. Okay, let's get into it. All right. So I see here that we get the Temperance card. So usually when I see that, I see patience, trying to hold on for not like dear life, but realizing that what we have is already what we've asked for. So I see here a lot of people are trying to do the most, and they're not seeing their benefits right there. They're not seeing their goals right in front of them. And it's almost as if they're still ungrateful. I actually just gave someone a reading about like something similar to this earlier, where it feels as if we have the abundance we've asked for and we're still not grateful. And the way that we really do align with our goals is when we express gratitude and when we understand that our goals are already here. We just have to align with them. And that all comes from our belief systems. So I feel like we have to switch our belief systems to a place of love, a place of operating from love and gratitude, and then we'll see exactly what we need to see. All right. So, okay. 6 of Swords. Once again, I think this goes back to this. It's almost as if we keep trying to move around. We keep trying to skirt responsibility, or we are not developing a mindset that's preparing for growth. It's almost as if we feel like, also because of capitalism, we feel like we have to overwork in order to get what we want. And although that may be true under this system, but we have to understand that we have to enjoy what we do. We don't have to do it for other people. We don't have to make it feel like we have to move here and there and everywhere in order to get what we want. If we like something, we should just go for it. We don't have to try to almost conform to other people's belief systems in order to do what we want. So if there's a job you don't want, it doesn't always have to be a 9-to-5 that we don't like, because a lot of people do like their 9-to-5s. But I do see here that we need to find what we enjoy rather than trying to make a quick buck. Because I see here that a lot of people are trying to do passion-driven work, but they really don't understand that they're really just trying to chase money. So what is it? do you want to do something you love, or do you just want to make a bunch of money? Because you can do both, but it's just going to take you a lot of time. Okay, great. Actually, I had this card earlier too. All right, so I see here that we have a lot to celebrate over, and I think that almost goes back to this first card. We almost feel as if we are lacking something, not even just but it's almost like mentally, physically and spiritually. So I feel like a lot of us are moving towards the goal of healing, and that is a great thing, but we're missing something, and usually that comes from unresolved traumas. I feel like we are making those strides to being physically more healthy and mentally more strong and spiritually more fit, but there's also a piece that we're missing, and we have to figure those things out before we feel completely whole. Because once again, we are completely whole. We are whole when we are born. But at the same time, though, we are not focusing on the real issue, on the real things, on the real roadblocks that are keeping us from the path to enlightenment. So I feel like we have to examine deep down with this, and you know that I'm the shadow work queen, so I always talk about shadow work, and this is probably what this card is trying to get at right there. So, okay, this looks great. I feel like once we realize what roadblocks we put into our path, we are going to feel the emotional abundance. I don't really feel like that necessarily means we're just going to be happy every day, because that's not always going to be true, because happiness is more of a mindset than a destination, or a journey than a destination. But I feel here that we're going to feel joyous because we're figuring out what does not bring us joy. So I think with figuring out patience, and with changing our mindset, and with figuring out what's missing, we're going to put the pieces together. We're going to put those missing pieces together and realize that we can find joy even in the most mundane things. If we are not joyful in something, we have to find the joy in it. Because once again, not everything is going to be like, unicorns and rainbows and stuff like that. And that's totally okay. And we have to realize that. But I think a lot of us are going to see that there is a pattern to the bad situations we've had. It's not that the bad situations are supposed to break us. They're supposed to let us learn more about ourselves, so that when we have joyous occasions, we see that as a temporary thing too, because everything is temporary. And I just really feel like a lot of people are going to find their joy in this Leo season, especially. But with this full moon, I can see people really moving past a dark place and realizing that life doesn't have to be shitty. Life doesn't have to be a black hole all the time. And we always feel like we have to ride out our emotions, and that's the only way we can do things. But we can't wallow. If we want to move on, we cannot wallow. We have to move on to the next moment. Okay, great. So moving on to the Ace of Cups for this full moon in Aquarius, I definitely get here that we have to be aware of our emotions. We have to be very present and mindful with how we're feeling. I actually made a post about this today on Instagram. We have to be mindful of our thoughts, because our thoughts are physiological responses to our emotions. So we have to be very still sometimes. And if we realize that we're feeling like shit, if we realize that we are, not in a good mood in the moment, we have to be still and focus on what we're thinking. Because on autopilot, we talk shit about ourselves to ourselves, and that's not cool. So we have to be still, realize when we're having we're in the middle of a funky mood, trace back our thoughts, or even the main thought. Maybe you're going to trace back the first thought you ever had, which is going back to your trauma, your root in shadow work. You can do that too. It could take a few minutes to a couple hours or a couple days. But I really feel like we have to focus more on how we're feeling, because if we don't go with the emotions and we try to stay in a certain emotion for long, we're not making growth. We don't want to be, of course, being a bit depressed and anxious does not feel good. But once we recognize that we have those feelings, then we can move on and make strides in our path and things like that. So I really feel like we have to pay attention to our emotions, and then in turn it will go back to our thoughts. And yes, I love this one right here. I love how these are both 3. I feel like this is saying that we need to not stop, And that doesn't even mean the whole capitalist society type, go, 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 hustle type mentality. I feel like once we move through these motions, move through these phases in what's going to happen this full moon, where we're going to be learning about ourselves in the full moon, we can now do the work that we enjoy. We can now do the work on ourselves that we enjoy. Since this is 3, we can finally work on ourselves holistically and not have that missing piece. So that's amazing that this is in the same row right here, because or column, because what that speaks to me in, we have a lot of emotional blocks that we are not paying attention to because it hurts, and we need to stop with that shit because it's not serving us. So we have to work more on ourselves before we work on our passions to get us have our goals be on our doorstep, because they are coming. But we think that working on our passions is just enough, and they're not. I feel like once we work on ourselves, all right, sorry about that, the camera totally cut off. But I was saying that once we realize that getting out of bed in the morning for a certain thing feels so good, once we're happy doing what we really want to do, then we found true success. Because success is not like how many followers you have, how much money you have, how much recognition you get on the daily. Like, success is really how you feel. It is abundance. It is how you feel about yourself in a positive way, a positive and productive way. So if you're not happy, if you're not holistically fit, be it mentally, spiritually, and spiritually, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? Because I don't like this saying where people say, in order to to have other people love you, you got to love yourself first, because that is shaming someone who doesn't love themselves. So I don't mean to use that analogy and also shame you for working on your passions and you haven't worked on yourself, and that's not what I mean. But at the same time, though, a lot of us are not happy because we're putting in this work to something we think we want, but it doesn't make us happy. So we have to really figure out our passions, figure out the root causes of these certain problems, change our mindset, and be patient so we can get to a place where we are feeling great about ourselves, realizing that life can be as happy as we want it to be and as dark as we want it to be as well. Paying attention to our emotions will absolutely get us to this place where we're holistically fit and working on things that we enjoy, rather than listening to the outside noises of what people expect from us. So yes, in conclusion, for this full moon in Aquarius, I think that it's not even just shadow work that we need to do. We need to find out what actually makes us happy this time. I feel like we think the things that we're working on makes us happy, but we're more doing it for other people, and we're more doing it because we will get recognition from other people. And Aquarius to me is all about eccentricity. It's basically, even though it's not a mutable sign, it reminds me of the Pisces of the air element, in that these people are very unique in how they do things. Like people who have Aquarius energy, or a lot of placements in their chart, which I do myself, they have a lot of an innovative energy. They're very logical. They know how to move around. They know how to talk, by the way. But at the same time, we need to use those abilities that we have within us, even people without Aquarius placements, to manifest wisely, in the sense that we need to actually find what makes us happy and not go based on what our parents have to say, or what the amount of likes on a picture has to say, or people gassing you up have to say. If you don't like it, you don't like it, drop it, okay? Do what you actually like to do, even if you know that you're not going to get that much support. It's going to take a while, and that is okay, but you're going to find the joy between all of it. Move through your emotions. Deal with your problems. And then you'll actually work on things that you enjoy, not caring about what other people think. So that's everything I have for the full moon reading in Aquarius. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like. So what do you think about this reading? Did it resonate with you? What are you going to do for this full moon? Don't forget to check me out on thesoulfulveganista.com for my holistic lifestyle coaching services. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. And check me out on Patreon to support this Black business. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.